expectations.
Now, you may be asking where in the world I am.
You just decide you're happy and everything else goes away.
Because everybody has to deal with expectations, right?
I don't think it works like that. That is a practice called spiritual bypass.
Well, I am in fact on a paddleboard in the middle of a lake.
And it's super toxic.
We live in an abundant universe.
Hey there, welcome to a special anniversary edition of Truth Be Told. We are the Soul Evolution Collaborative, and believe it or not, this is episode 53. We have been doing this every Tuesday night for an entire year, and so we are really excited to be celebrating our 1-year anniversary all month, the rest of the month, and we have kind of put a little twist on how we're going to do this. We're going to go a little mystery science theater on you for the month, and we are actually going to revisit some of the episodes over the last year and have a little fun with some commentary over some of those segments. So, this is Truth Be Told. This is where we get to bring our inspiration to the world, to you, and so we are, again, celebrating our 1-year anniversary. We're going to do that with a little fun. So this is a little different than we're used to, but we're going to have we'll have some fun SEC style in a way that only we get to do. So sit back, enjoy some of our random and hopefully funny comments over some of our past videos. And I'm going to try and find our other video that I'm supposed to play on top of this right now. Here it is.
Hey, I think we should all just choose to be happy today.
I love this. I forgot all about this one.
Do you guys know what's going on in this country right now? Sure it does. You just decide you're happy and everything else goes away. I really don't think
that's totally how
crazy.
It works, by the way.
Oh, shit. That is certainly not how it works. The problems of the world do not go away simply because we decide to be happy. That is a practice called spiritual bypass, and it's super toxic.
True.
Many people do not have the option to bypass their feelings or situation. If you find yourself in a moment of contemplation deciding which to mind first, your own happiness or the concerns of the world, that is a major privilege and not one to be taken lightly. We all have a responsibility to each other. Similarly, you cannot simply convince yourself to be happy so that your own problems go away. They will not go away, and you will not truly be happy. Happiness comes in moments, listening to your favorite music, being with friends, completing a project. These are moments that make us feel good. However, happiness is fleeting. What you are really looking for is joy. Whoa, how did I get here?
Where did it come from?
Hi, Joy.
Oh, that's so good.
Hi, Truth. Joy is a way of
I wish
being
this
that
didn't mean
grounds
more
you in a
now than
consistent
it
and
did
clear
then
state
when it
of
first
mind,
aired.
making it possible to appreciate all aspects of your life for what they are. With joy, you are always brought back to this state, no matter the moment. Joy is feeling good about yourself, understanding your own self-worth and value, living with purpose. Joy is unshakable. Joy is a way of being in which all other experiences travel through.
Sounds like you're reading from the
It is
dictionary.
a foundation. Yeah, there's a reason happiness always stands in that doorway over there. It's so we can leave at any time.
I mean, it was truth,
So
right?
this happiness that I've been chasing for most of my life, the happiness that I think I finally found,
Concerned.
you're telling me
Very
he's
good.
just going to up and leave whenever he wants. Pretty much. You see, in your search for happiness, you have always looked outside of yourself,
happy.
as if happiness would somehow magically appear in front of you. Well, that is exactly what happened.
Truth's
You
kind of
have
annoying,
found
actually.
moments of happiness in random events or people, But as soon as that event is over or that person leaves, so does your happiness. You see, in this type of search for happiness,
Just got to come in and ruin
you're always
everything.
looking to change the world around you, which you have no control over.
Here comes Debbie Downer.
Your inner way of
Right?
being.
I got to be so condescending.
To avoid this whole time. Your way of being is still exactly the same as it was before you started. You are still concerned. I would never leave you. While happiness is all over the place, I'm always right here alongside you, whenever you are ready. Wow, that's so sweet. Kind of feels comforting. Exactly.
Kind of lurking
Once you find me in your life, you realize
What a
you can
creeper.
still experience a full range of emotions and experiences, but you are always one thought away from the comfort and stability of joy. I like joy. Yes, Happy, even you can have joy in your life. This is starting to sound a little weird. Are we still talking about the same
Is that
thing?
microphone on your shoulder?
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's so good though. So good.
But you know, isn't that the way it is though? Like you have all these like voices
Yeah, right.
in our head, and like they're like what to pay attention to and what not to. And so, although truth was a little annoying in that video, it is interesting because like it's that I don't know, it's that under overarching sort of voice, you know, especially when we're in like spiritual practices and things, this kind of overarching voice that yes can be annoying sometimes, but it's not something that we can go back to.
Yeah, and yet, like, yeah, man, that can be annoying. So, yeah, I know. Fine, I'll do that. Like, you know, you have those moments of like it's, but I'd just rather would just sit in this and complain about it. Like, really, truth? Do you gotta just ruin that?
Oh, like Reverend Chris says, don't tell me what I know.
Right? Yeah.
That's the way truth is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's good, but it's that reminder. It's that reminder, you know, when we're, like there's, like I said, there's aspects of ourselves that, you know, the confused and the angry or the sad. I mean, all those things are parts of ourselves, and just recognizing that we can always rely on truth to kind of be the stabilizing factor in all of that.
Yeah.
I like the idea too of differentiation. Like, you know, when you're listening and you're in the spur of the moment, like it's that surface level thinking that wants to jump in with all those thoughts that aren't really true. And so it takes a minute to like remind, like, okay, hold on now. I'm getting like activated. I'm getting like, you know, riled up here. What's the truth? And just taking that minute to pause, take a breath, and then just center in. And it's amazing how just that little thing really shifts the way that the thoughts come up. And then you start to connect to like, okay, maybe that what I'm saying really wasn't true. Maybe. So I like that.
And you know, and the whole thing is kind of like a silly sort of representation, but it does look at how we can process things from this observer sort of standpoint, this observing mind, which I think allows us to kind of step outside of experiences and look at them and not become like that. We have experiences. We are not the experiences. So these experiences do not define who we are. We're individual having these experiences. And so I think that was a really good representation of that. And so when we can see that, we can have these, what was represented in the clip is we can have these very intentional conversations with ourselves through the process, and then kind of get to on the other side of confusion or anger or shame, all those things, when we're able to kind of approach it from that observer mind, which I think is, I mean, that's kind of the goal. I mean, with a lot of our mindfulness practices and things of that nature, is to be able to see ourselves as we are not our thoughts. We are having thoughts, but we are not our thoughts, and really create that self as context. And so when we can separate that out, then we can actually view things more, objectively, which creates balance, I think.
That's kind of the interesting thing about happiness too, is like, I mean, Happy the character, but also like Happy just wants everything to be all happy and great, right? And I want to be happy
Right.
Well, that means like I need to be that thing, and so any moment or anything that looks different than that, all of a sudden it's like a threat to me. But joy, we have joy. We aren't like, you don't become joy. I mean, maybe we do. I don't know. But like even the way we talk about joy is so different than the way we talk about being happy.
Mm-hmm.
I can be happy, or I can have joy.
Right.
I can have a joyful experience, and so there's a distinction, like super incredible distinction between being happy and having joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So in case you were wondering, that was from episode 11 back in January. You are spirit, full of joy. Yeah, I remember that. We were full of it that month.
We were definitely full of
it. Full of joy. Yeah, that was a fun skit. So this next one up is from episode 45. This is from September. You might be a religious scientist if.
If what?
You might be a religious scientist if you believe in abundance. Now, you may be asking where in the world I am. Well,
Yes,
I
we
am,
are.
in fact, on a paddleboard in the middle of a lake.
Get
So
the
what does this
breeze.
have to do with abundance?
How did you get there?
So this idea of abundance has nothing
I
to
almost
do
got
with
close to my
money or
body.
material things. But instead, it's this belief, this
We're just
understanding,
floating.
this knowing that
Drifting.
we live in an
Yeah.
abundant universe. That the flow of nature, the flow of our lives, the flow of everything we see is wrapped up in abundance.
And in case
That
anyone's
there's no
wondering,
lack.
that is
There's
the
no
three of us in
limitation,
actual
that we
seats down there in
exist
the
in this
front.
realm of
Yeah, I'm in the middle.
possibilities.
Yeah,
Yep.
That this universe
stretching, right?
has a
If
capability
you look closely,
to
you can see the mustache sticking off the
maintain
sides.
us, to sustain us, to be the very giver of
Now
life.
look really close though.
And so when we look at
Maybe
the
not.
natural world
I
around
keep on
us,
looking to
we
the side because
see
there's a tree right there that
the
I'm
literal in living color activation of this idea of abundance.
See, I thought you were just looking off, pondering
The
into the
trees-
depths
Nope.
of.
Grow toward the light, that the water flows without any idea of limitations or lack. And so that we have everything that we need,
Oh, there it is. I see it.
everything that we need to maintain and sustain our lives,
Closer, closer.
exist by our very participation in this
Try
universal
to be cool.
principle.
Try to be cool.
Don't hit the tree. Don't hit the
And
tree.
so it's not
Don't drop
Here
your
the
phone.
comes
idea
the
of
gator.
acquiring things or idea of getting more of, but instead it's
Taking
understanding
on water.
that which we already have,
How did you even get out there?
that we are infused by the very
Were
thing
you filming
that
this on
gives
your
life
phone?
to everything.
Yeah, I was holding my phone.
This
Did you have it in a container in
power of
case
presence,
it
this
gets
hum
dropped
of the
in?
universe
Did you have
is
it
the
in a
thing that
waterproof
beats our
case?
heart,
I did not.
the
Ooh,
thing that gives us breath, the thing that gives
Gutsy.
us life, and
Yeah,
it is
living on the edge
abundant.
there.
I'm just that good.
It knows nothing else. It exists from nothing else.
I want to see
Super
the
joke.
footage of Reverend Chris
So when we
wiping
can
out.
grasp this, when we can grasp
That's
just
a
the
whole other
totality
episode.
of this
That'll be
understanding,
next episode.
Yeah.
then we can meet life with this amazing expectancy. Expecting our good, knowing that all things are always working for our good. All
For
things
sure, I
are
have those
working
glasses.
to reveal that which is already true, and that we are abundant, that we are loved, that we are fueled, maintained, and sustained by the universe itself.
Abundance.
That's right.
Yay, abundance.
Yeah. Gotta
Yeah,
love
we-
abundance.
Well, it's the same sort of concept that we were just talking about with joy. And so that like abundance, we have it, we are it. We like it's just it's this activity of the universe, it's the activity of the thing that breathes us and animates us. So we're not doing things to get abundance.
Right.
That's still that's what we are. It's like we don't do things to get joy. That's what we are. So like the work is like the reverse. It's to like set aside all the brush and the leaves and stuff that are covering that. So it's not, we're just having to like remove those things that stand in the way or stand in the way of our awareness. Not necessarily there's nothing that can stand in the way of our abundance, but our awareness of it. The same thing, like I said, it's the same thing with joy. It's the same sort of concept, I think.
Yeah, you don't have to remind the ocean that it's the ocean.
Yeah, it pretty much already knows, doesn't it?
Yeah, or it doesn't matter. It just is, right? Like that's just the nature. Yeah, that's a really big distinction too, because I think I'm sure we talked about this whenever that episode came up, the difference between abundance and prosperity.
Oh yeah.
And for me, the greatest difference is in most prosperity teachings, we're still giving away our power. Like money is still the God.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas in abundance, source is source, and everything else shows up abundantly because that's just the nature of the universe. So abundance is just kind of calling the universe what it is, whereas prosperity is like that's totally a human thing, right? Like we're not going out trying to convince like birds and trees to be prosperous,
right?
But they're already abundant.
It's like a formulaic thing, like you do this, and you get this.
Yeah.
Whereas abundance, like you said, it's the nature of things. Just like joy is the nature of things.
Yeah.
Peace is the nature of things. Us being one of those things.
Yes, that's right. Being part of the universe.
We got to let Chris talk. Chris, did you want to say?
Yeah.
I really didn't have much on this one. It's good stuff.
He's already full of it.
Swimming in the abundance.
Well, it's interesting because, well, I mean, I sort of did it on purpose, but like it is that kind of like the water. It's like this flow. It's just like that's what it is. And like if you're fighting against that, then you're not going to go anywhere. But it's like just being open to that flow of abundance. And I'm not under illusion that I've cracked the code of I'm always aware of my abundance because there's like 15 times a day, or I think my source is something other than it is. But it's a good reminder that we already are that. We already have that. We are abundance because it is the nature.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. We're not done yet. We have another episode or one more segment to go. It's going to be fun, so stick around for that. But while we're here, we just want to say thank you. Thanks to everybody for the support. Thanks to everybody for the support of the site. Like, that was a great time. I really enjoyed being in the presence of some great minds and getting to share each night with all these individuals. It was really wonderful. Everybody that showed up at the after parties and participated or was just there, all of it. We appreciate all of you. So keep on the lookout for more ways to participate. If you're into expanding, your consciousness, your experience of the infinite, stay on board with us. Come see us Thursday night for the gathering. It's a wonderful experience where we get to really talk with each other in community. It's an intimate setting. You can talk if you like. You don't have to. But it's just a great time to really get to dive deep into these topics, to these conversations. And that's how really once you talk about what you think and what you believe, it helps you really cement what you really do believe and understand. And that's a powerful thing that we are really, really working on here with the idea of personal transformation, how that leads to communal evolution, which leads to global collaboration. That's what we're all about. So check us out. Check out Strip Down Sundays. It's the unchurched church service where you get just the message on Sundays, 12:30 on Facebook Live. And look out for meditations. Not this week because I have class, but next week we'll be back. Unwind Wednesday meditations, always a good time. And other than that, thanks for your support. Many ways to do it. Check out Soul Evolution Collaborative.org, where you can find out everything you need to know about us. Now let's enjoy the rest of Mystery Science Theater 3000 Truth Be Told 1 year anniversary special.
Oh yeah, this one's my favorite. This is from episode 16, What to Do with Expectations.
Expectations.
Yes.
Challenges. Be
Our
warned.
challenge this week is expectations,
If
or
you
as we're
choose to
calling it,
accept.
our common quandary.
That
Everybody
splash is
has to
looking
deal with
dope,
expectations,
Christopher.
right? Now, I think Reverend Ryan said
Thank you.
it best, that expectations can be the enemy of our good.
Is that my
The
seat there
good
in the
would be
back?
coming to us if we weren't so locked in to
yeah,
expecting something to be a certain way.
Certain height
So
requirements.
it brings me to a story. Maybe you've heard this before. If you have, bear We are with me. strict
But
about it in
not,
our van.
Works
well.
Mm.
Now this is the story of a person who
have
the measuring stick
in a
right
flood,
outside, and the waters are rising quickly. And
you must be taller than this to ride in the front seat.
Traditional God-fearing human being that has an absolute faith in God and prayer.
I love
and
this
so
story.
they know that God is going to come and save them. Now, shortly after, here along comes a canoe, and the person paddling the canoe says, "Hop in, I'll get you to safety." And the person on the rooftop says, "That's okay, God's gonna save me, I'm good." So they go on. And then a little while later, here comes somebody in a motorboat and says, "Hop in the boat, I'll get you to safety."
Get in
And the
that
person
boat.
says, "No, thank you,
Do
I
it.
am praying, I have
Do it.
absolute
Get in the
faith
boat."
that God is going to save me." A little while later, here comes the helicopter, drops a line and says, "Grab the line, we will rescue you." And the person says, "Don't you get it? I am praying to God and God is going to save me. Leave me alone."
Get out of here.
And the helicopter reluctantly leaves. The waters continue to rise until the person perishes. Now, this person goes to their version of the afterlife, of heaven, and they go to their version of God, which is going to be the little old man in the sky with the long gray beard, and says, "God, what happened? I was praying. I had
WTF,
faith.
God.
Why didn't you save me?" And God says, "I sent you a canoe. I sent you a motorboat. I sent you a helicopter. What more did you expect?" And really, that sums it up. When we have our expectations about the way something should turn out, we tend to get on blinders, and we don't see that the things that are coming for us are actually what it was that we were hoping to experience in
Could you
a
imagine
slightly
putting
different take.
expectations on God?
And that's the magic. That's the magic and
Yeah.
beauty of affirmative prayer, is that we
I
put
could
out
see
our
it.
intention to
All
see
the
what's going
Karens
to
in the
happen,
world.
but we have to let go
Take me
of
to your boss.
walking into a specific
talk to
way
the
that it
manager.
needs to show up. Now, another way that expectations can lead us astray is when we expect other people in the world to behave a certain way. And we hear ourselves saying, like, if I was in their shoes, I would have done this, or I would have never have done that. That is the absolute wrong way to respond in that situation. We say these things without even knowing what's going on through that person's head or what's going on in their life situations. We don't know. We just expect or assume things to be a certain way. And when they don't happen that way, we get ourselves bent out of shape and we lower our vibration and get into the not ideal way of being, and we blame it on somebody else not living up to our expectations. And what a shame, because we can miss out on so much more good if we learn how to not adhere to those expectations and demand that they live up to
Missing
what we
that
feel
abundance
is the way
again.
they need to be.
Yep.
So let's see how this unfolds and see where our opportunity and expectations lies.
This is my favorite part.
I'd say this is coming up right here. You
Now,
ready?
you may be wondering why I was coming to you from the car today. The idea was to do something unexpected. It was either going to be the car or the bathtub. So, you're welcome.
We pretty sure we talked about that for like weeks, months. You're welcome.
I don't know. We kind of might have wanted the bathtub. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it's-
no, nobody The wants whole- to see that.
well, we're in season 2. We can get away with stuff like that now. So
That's a whole other
All
show.
right.
No, I like this. I like this conversation about expectations because, well, I don't know if you would think that expectations are the thing or the same thing as like attachment to outcomes. That's kind of how I like to say it. I think they're the same sort of thing. And so I think how constricted it is when we're attached to a specific outcome. Like it has to look this way. And if it doesn't look this way, then it's not right, or I'm not going to be happy or anything like that. And so we were all a little disappointed.
all of us were a little disappointed.
But and so then it shrinks our world. It shrinks our ability to take in good or whatever, abundance or happiness or joy or all those things when we're attached to this specific outcome. And so like not having such a white knuckle grip on an expectation that it has to look this way. And so when we can like let go of that a little bit, I think that we can kind of like open ourselves up and like actually like things could come into our awareness or our experience that we couldn't even imagine because we were so focused on this. And so I know for me, that's a challenge. I like things planned, and I like the backups to the backups.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too. There's so much depth to the idea of expectations. Like there's so many different ways that plays out, that expectations play out in our lives. And like for me, the first thing I go to with expectations is being in a position where someone has expectations of me that I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
And then later tries to hold me to those expectations, or expectations that I have of other people that I have not made them aware of. Right? And I mean, it's like that's such a practice to not do, to not like paint a picture in my head of what a birthday should look like, or what this interaction should look like, or what it should look like for this group of people to show up and do this thing, right? Like, and yet, we kind of like, our brain kind of wants to know like how to prepare, how to prepare for what that's going to be like. And it's such a practice. It takes so much energy to just be like, okay, cool. Like this can be whatever it's going to be, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's such I don't know if this is universal, but it takes such a conscious effort to go back to that place of like, okay, yeah, it is okay for this just to be whatever it's going to be. Yeah. And that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's definitely something to be said about just the idea of being able to roll with things. How much pain and suffering can we save ourselves from? Flexibility and not having to have things show up a certain way. It causes so much, mental distress when things don't go the way they were supposed to.
Yeah. And I think I'm sorry, Chris.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, does it really matter? What really matters?
Well, there's a freedom, there's a lightness in existing that way. And I don't know that we can always be that way. I mean, I think that we can work towards where that is our default, and that the squeezing of expectations is not the default. But I think it is a constant revisiting opportunity to be like, okay, if things don't go perfect, or if this technology doesn't work this way, or I mean, like in the whole scheme of our awareness, that we're just being open to allowing things to be as they are, and then really focusing on what's ours to do in that. And that's not to say that we're just kind of like this passive sort of on the sidelines sort of awareness, but I think that we can move about our experience in a way that brings about freedom, and not the constriction of expectations or the constriction of the way things have to be.
And I think that ties right back into that idea of joy versus happiness. You're tapping in to that deeper presence instead of that surface level happiness.
Almost sounds like we need to do an episode on like trust or faith or something.
Oh, yeah. Well,
have we not?
Maybe. I'm sure
probably a couple times.
At least. Well, it's interesting. When we were picking like random favorite segments, we were like, what? They're probably not gonna have anything to do with each other. It's probably gonna be like whatever, like it's just gonna be this segment doesn't go with this segment, doesn't go. But isn't it interesting? All the segments for tonight has an underlying kind of foundational truth thing. You would think it's kind of like a universal principle or something. Interesting how that works.
How many times did we see that throughout the year where it was like, wait a minute, that's exactly what this was saying, and this was here. It's like this, intricate spider web that was always just pulling on. It was all throughout it. Like to have this said and make sense, you have to include this idea. Yeah. But wait, that's my lane, but I need to use that lane to tell you where I'm going with my lane. Like it was mind blowing week after week, how much it tied together, and how much the things we were talking about each week were like amplified and showed up throughout our individual, like personal lives throughout the week.
Yeah. It was like principle and action, which is interesting. I think we had this conversation today, like, oh wait, this shit really works, because literally this whole year with Soul Evolution Collaborative has been the out picturing that this works, this understanding, this way of looking at the world, this way of looking at ourselves in relation to the divine, this way of understanding, if we're open to what the fullness of life, and if we are holding a vision, a thing, something out in front of us that we're moving towards, and that just impress of our beliefs and impress of our thoughts and impress of ways of looking at things, it actually outpictures in ways, and we can all say in ways greater than we could have even imagined, but we've continued to be open to that. So it's like, this is like application is the application, as Chris says. I mean, it is. I mean, it's interesting to get back, a year ago and to now look back and think, oh man, like everything just fell into place. The more and more we released attachments to outcomes and just stepped into one step at a time, one step at a time, and really demonstrating how that actually not only worked in our kind of professional life, but our personal lives too. Just things came into our awareness that were like, man, this is some crazy stuff. And so much so that I guess we started talking about, like, why is it not the norm? Why are we always surprised when things I mean,
and yet, like, I think I hope I never am not surprised like that. Like,
yes,
yeah, of course it works.
But how many times have, like, we texted one another and said, oh my God, you're not going to believe, we prayed for that, or did a mind treatment yesterday, and oh my God, look at this.
Yeah.
And we were like, just blown away. And I guess you're right. We shouldn't be surprised, but I always want to be surprised, because it's something about that, oh my God, that fullness, that aha.
Yeah.
That I never want to lose sight of that either. So
it's like a 5-year-old on Christmas morning over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
That's good stuff.
Which, speaking of, I would be remiss if I don't say something. I like your hat and sweater, Rev Ryan. It's like a St. Patrick's Day, Where's Waldo?
It is, isn't it?
I love it.
Oh, that's great. Yes.
My hand was cold.
Yeah. Love it. I love it. Oh, that was fun.
Oh, that's good stuff. Well, thank you once again for spending some quality time with us. I know tonight's episode's been a little silly, but isn't it amazing just to look back on the things that we've been talking about over the year and to have a little fun with it, and really to see how these things have actually outpictured in our lives each and every week, not only in our lives, but the lives of each and every one of you. We've heard from so many people putting these practices into their applying them in their actual everyday lives, like going to work lives, and how tiny shifts have totally changed their experience. So we know that this faith and philosophy and way of life, and this way of looking at the world and ourselves, we know that this message is amazing. And so we thank you for being a part of this year and many years to come. We have enjoyed it. So if you want to have some more fun with us, join us on Thursday for the gathering. It's our opportunity to kind of get together, kind of small group, informal, talk about some of these universal truths and principles and how we've applied it to our own lives, and how these experiences have showed up in our own lives and our own awareness, and to learn from one another. We know that it's one thing to kind of be in spiritual practice with yourself, kind of on your own couch, your own yoga mat. But when we're in community with one another, we can learn from our experiences. We can learn from the energy and from the voices of others. So we invite you to be here on Thursday. You can sign up on soulevolutioncollaborative.org. You can sign up for the gathering, and you will get an email with the link. It's always an absolute amazing time. Now, the Soul Evolution Collaborative is supported by people like you. We are maintained, funded, fueled, and sustained by the universe, outpicturing through your donations and your sharing of abundance with us. And so we appreciate all the partnering that has gone on this year for this ministry. If you'd like to be a part of partnering with us, once again, soulevolutioncollaborative.org, you can click on the donate button, and all donations are tax deductible and greatly appreciated. If you want to stay up to date with everything that's going on, there's a lot of new stuff that's happening. Go to soulevolutioncollaborative.org. You can see everything that's going on there, some content, some videos, a lot of fun stuff. You can also sign up for our email newsletter, our blog, and just stay up to date with what's going on with soulevolutioncollaborative.org. So for some of you, we will see you on Thursday. And for the rest of you, we'll see you next week.
You're on mute.
And one other special announcement before we get out of here. We are doing a super special fun celebration for the month of December, where every night we are going to be live online for like 5 or 10 minutes at a time with a word of the day. We're going to celebrate 31 different expressions of light for the whole month of December. And one of the reasons we're doing this is because so many times we get to this time of year, and as people practicing science of mind, as religious scientists, we wonder often, do we still celebrate Christmas? Do we still celebrate this holiday or that holiday or whatever any of that might look like? And all of that's totally cool. But shouldn't we have something at this time of the year where we so often celebrate light? And we'll get all into all that for this event. But anyway, so we're doing this super fun celebration of 31 expressions of light for the whole month of December. So if you're interested in taking part in that, celebrating along with us, or maybe even participating in it, you can check that out at the website soulevolutioncollaborative.org. Go to the events tab, and everything you want to know about it should be there. And I'm going to leave it at that because I think we've said enough and we've had enough fun tonight. We'll be back next week, and we will see you then.